Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Srila Jagannatha's Babaji Maharaja gave 32 essential instructions that are coming out soon in our book about the life and teachings of Srila Jagannatha's Babaji Maharaj. In this video, we'll go over his instructions 1 to 10, along with the instructions and teachings of our Guru-varga. The first instruction he gave is that a person should never meet or associate with an atheist who wears the dress of renunciation, who is actually just a hypocrite, who has so many material motives for women, for wealth, for name and fame. In the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita by Kaviraj Goswami, Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami, Markat Vairagya na loko dekaya yata yogya vishaya punja anashakta hoya antare nishta koro bhaya vyavahar achirate Krishna tomai kori ben udhar. Mahaprabhu criticized the practice of monkey renunciation. He said, don't show off yourself to be a renunciant while you maintain so many tendencies of sense enjoyment. Monkeys are very renounced. They don't have clothes. They live like beggars, moving here and there without any fixed residence or possessions. But we see monkeys are always engaged in sex life. They're very lusty, and they will steal at any opportunity. So Krishna teaches also in the Gita that we should not be artificially renounced if we still carry material sense desires. We may be sincerely following spiritual practice while living as a celibate, and we may still have material desires, but at least we should not be hypocritical. Hypocrisy is like a great obstacle in spiritual life. We may have so many weaknesses, but if we are sincere under the shelter of Guru and Vaishnavas and we pray for mercy, then we can gradually advance and overcome these anarthas. First, bhakti will arise, and then these lusty desires, the hridrog, disease of the heart, will vanish. It is said, therefore, bhaktim param bhagativiti pratilabhya kamam. First, pure devotion will awaken, and then lust will go. So Krishna does not say that we should not become renounced unless we are already free of lusty desires or sense desires. The point is that we should not show a pretense of being such a great renunciant, such a great sadhu, while we foster so many bad habits, and that is just monkey renunciation. Mahaprabhu said we should develop our faith internally without making a show of ourselves to the public. In due course, by doing that, Krishna will liberate us. Later on, when Raghunath Das Goswami came to Mahaprabhu in Puri after receiving the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu very happily accepted him and put him under the guidance of Swarup Damodar and told him, I'm very happy to see that you have escaped from the stool pit of Maya, the dark well of family life. The second instruction of Srila Jagannatha Das Babaji Maharaj is that one should never take the food of a sense enjoyer. By doing so, one will also become a sense enjoyer. In the Antilila, chapter 6, 272, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Vishayir ana kaile malin hoye man malin hoyle nahi Krishna smaran. That if one eats food given by worldly people who have so many sense desires, by doing this, the mind becomes contaminated, and in such a state, the sadhaka cannot remember and concentrate on Sri Krishna. There's the saying, you are what you eat. And this is even more than we imagine. What we eat does not just affect our physical body, it also affects our consciousness, our subtle body. If we eat food cooked by people with very low consciousness, who are always absorbed in gross sense gratification, their consciousness is transferred through the food grains into our mind, and it affects our unconsciousness. It makes it very difficult to practice smaran, or remembrance of Sri Krishna. the two primary injunctions of the scripture are to never forget Krishna, to always remember him. Smartavya satata Vishnu vismartavya najatuchit sarva vide nishedur shur itayo eva kinkaraha. All other rules and regulations are subordinate to these two. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. If you are taking Vishaya Anna, food cooked by materialists who have no faith in Krishna and who are only gross sense enjoyers, then this contaminates the mind and it inhibits one's remembrance of Sri Krishna. Param Gurudev wrote very strongly on this in his articles. Also Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, they wrote very strongly about this, saying one should not even take food cooked by a relative if that relative is inimical towards Krishna or is engaged in like a degraded behavior that is contrary to religious principles of spiritual life. Srila Babaji Maharaj's next instruction, number 3, is that by the mercy of Gaudiya, the abode of Sri Gaur Hari, one can gain residence in Brajamandal, the abode of Sri Krishna. But without Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mercy, we cannot obtain the mercy of Sri Krishna in Braj. Mahaprabhu came to reveal the glories of Braja Bhakti, as well as the process to obtain that. Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Kodite Pracharan. He preached the path of spontaneous love and devotion. Without taking shelter of Mahaprabhu, we can become easily misguided on our path, and we may commit many offenses in the Dham, but Gaur-dham does not accept any offenses. It is said, therefore, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 824, Krishna naam kore aparad vichar, Krishna aparad na hoile vikar. Because of offenses while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we do not develop the state of pure ecstasy while chanting. It later says, Bahu janma kori jadi shravan kirtan tabutana pai Krishna pade premadan. Because of committing so many offenses while chanting, we do not develop pure love or pure taste for chanting. Therefore, we can pass millions of lifetimes in this pseudo-practice or offensive practice without achieving the goal. However, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they are so merciful, they do not take offenses into account. They do not accept offenses when we take shelter of them and chant their holy names. If we chant the names of Chaitanya, Nityananda, we are quickly cleansed of all sinful offenses in nature and tendencies. By taking shelter of Gaur-Nitai, by taking shelter of the Mahamantra, with the shelter of Gaur-Nitai, then we can easily awaken pure love for Krishna. We see Jagannatha Babaji Maharaja himself, as well as many other saintly devotees, pure devotees. They came from Vrindavan and performed bhajan in Gaur-dham, the abode of Sri Gauranga. Nartham Das Thakur prays, Shri Gaurang Mandalat Bhume Jeva Jane Chintamani Tar Hoy Brajabhumi Vas Gaura Prema Rasarnave Se Tarange Jeva Dube Shri Radha Madhava Antaranga. That Gaur-dham is like a transcendental touchstone that can fulfill the desires of spiritual practitioners. And if we reside in Gaur-dham and take shelter there, then it can grant residence in Sri Braj. Those who are drowning in the ocean of Gaur Prem, pure love for Gauri, if they jump in that ocean of love for Gaur, then they will arise out at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Krishna amidst their associates in Braj. Babaji Maharaj, his fourth instruction is that worldly misfortune should be considered the compassion of God. This is a very difficult one. In the Bhagavatam 1.8.25, Queen Kunti prays to Krishna, Vipada Shantutha Sasvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyad Apunar Bhava Darshanam. After she had explained all the calamities, Vipada, that had come to her family, then she prayed with this verse. Most people pray to God to be free of difficulties in life, free of calamities. But Kunti Devi, the mother of the Pandavas, she was exposed to so many dangers. Duryodhana tried to kill his cousins, the Pandavas, burn them in a house of lac, poison Bhima. He tried to disrobe their wife Draupadi. He committed so many horrible crimes against them, and they had so many problems again and again. But instead of praying to be free of these problems, Kunti Devi prayed, Vipada Shantutha Sasvat, let those calamities happen again and again, because by these problems coming, I'm able to focus on you and have your darshan, and by having your darshan, it means that we will no longer have darshan of this bhava sangsar, this ocean of material existence and birth and death. So she prayed to Krishna for these problems to come again and again. It's a very forceful way of detaching us from samsara. When Devaki and Vasudeva were imprisoned in the jail of Kamsa, Vasudeva would ask Devaki that, are you disturbed that just after our marriage, even before we returned home and we've been imprisoned and we've been here for many years and we're not able to live a normal, happy life? But she said, no, if we were in family life, then we would be so distracted by our relatives, by our family members, by our friends. We'd be so absorbed in these kinds of activities of material life that it would be very difficult to focus and constantly remember Krishna. But when we are in this prison, then no one can come to meet us, and we don't have a comfortable arrangement. Day and night, we can focus on Krishna and His service. Therefore, I am happy here. I have no distress. This is a high and difficult to achieve level of awareness. But Babaji Maharaj teaches it to be an ideal here. So, the fifth instruction, Babaji Maharaj states that a person is not called a sannyasi if he just takes on the external cloth or apparel of a renunciant or sannyasi. One is not truly a sannyasi until pure love and attraction for Krishna and His service appears in one's heart. There are people who think that sannyas is just an outer apparel, a dress, and a style of life or vocation, and that a sannyasi doesn't have to do any work. Some people think like that. They're free to live at the expense of others. This is not actual sannyas. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 1, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 6.1, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiya sa sannyasi chayogni cha na niragnir na chakriya. That a real sannyasi is not someone who performs no work or who lights no fire. A person is in the renounced order of life who is always absorbed in service to Sri Krishna. He is the mystic and yogi, not just a person who lights no fire or performs no work. Na niragnir na chakriya. Krishna continues in the next verse to say that we should know that true renunciation is the same as true yoga. Yoga means to be connected or linked to the divine. One cannot become a yogi until he renounces the desire for sense gratification. A real sannyasi is therefore a very high stage. Mahaprabhu taught that real sannyas, it is not something cheap, and one should not take sannyas for the wrong motive, thinking I will gain followers, wealth, name, and fame. That is just monkey renunciation. The real purpose of taking sannyas is to develop divine love and a loving service tendency to Sri Krishna. The gopis, therefore, even though they were in household life, they were the true sannyasis because they were not attached to any of their household affairs and were always one-pointedly attached to Sri Krishna. They were willing to give up all kinds of social reputation just for the service of Krishna. Mahaprabhu, in the mood of the gopis, taught the real meaning of sannyas. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, Mahaprabhu prayed that Prabhu kahe sadhu e bhikshuk vachan Mukunda sevan brata koilan nirdhara Mukunda sevai hoy sangsara taran sevesh koile ebe brindavana giya Krishna nishevana kori nibritta boshiya. Once he took sannyas, Mahaprabhu stated that the true purpose of taking on the garb of a renunciant is to adopt that firm vow to serve Sri Mukunda, who is the giver of mukti. Muktim dadati iti Mukunda. He who grants liberation is known as Mukunda. When we accept the redress of a renunciant, then that is favorable for us to develop one-pointed attachment to Sri Krishna and to perform loving service to Krishna without any material affiliations or things that will hold us back from his service or obstacles. As a sannyasi, we renounce material sense objects, but we should not think, oh, I will be a sannyasi worshipping Krishna, but at the same time I will foster so many material bad habits. That is not true sannyas, that is just hypocrisy. Real sannyas is striving to obtain paratma nishta, one-pointed devotion for Sri Krishna. Mahaprabhu therefore says that taking on this garb, I will go to Vrindavan, and there I will serve the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Later, in the Madhya Lila, Mahaprabhu prays, Kaha mor prananath murali badhan, kaha koro, kaha pao brajendra nandan, kaha re kebo jane mora dhuk, brajendra nandan vina fate mora bhuk. Alas, where is the Lord of my life? Where is my prananath? Where is that Sham Sundar who plays the flute and attracts the hearts of all living entities, of all residents of Braj? What should I do? Where should I go? How can I find my Brajendra Nandan? Who should I tell my tale of misery? Who can understand my sorrow? In separation of Brajendra Nandan, or from him, my heart is breaking. If one has this kind of sentiment, this is the true eligibility for taking sannyas. One should take sannyas simply to develop this firm attachment, this strong desire, this mood. How can I find and serve Brajendra Nandan Sham Sundar Krishna? This desire, it should become a burning longing, that we are always trying to seek out Sri Krishna. We should always be restless until we can find him and have his darshan and his mercy. So, moving forward, the sixth instruction of Jagannatha Babaji Maharaj is that even though we see many illnesses that cause suffering appear in the bodies of someone who desires to do bhajan, if we, as a practitioner, avoid very rich, delicious foodstuffs, the sicknesses that come to us will gradually leave of their own accord. But if we are always living a luxurious lifestyle and are very attached to sense enjoyment, then these illnesses will stay with us and give us troubles for a long time. We see therefore in the life of Mahaprabhu himself, he lived so austerely, and his devotees in the renounced order of life like Raghunath Das Goswami, he lived such an ideal lifestyle of renunciation. It is said that Das Goswami's renunciation was so strong it was like lines engraved in stone. Raghunath Vairagya Patanera Leka. The renunciation of Raghunath is like a line in a stone. If we desire to truly progress in the path of spiritual realization, we should try to adopt such an attitude. Once I was with Srila Gurudev in Houston with the school children of the New Braj Village School. And one boy asked Gurudev, how can we truly advance in spiritual life? Gurudev smiled and said, oh, you should eat very opulent foods and dress very elaborately with very expensive cloth like an aristocrat. If you do like this, then certainly you will achieve Krishna. Then he laughed and said, no, you should act like Mahaprabhu told, Bhalona kaibo or bhalona peribo. Try not to eat opulent foodstuffs and dress opulently. Try to avoid these things and remain simple-hearted, live simply, try to avoid opulent lifestyle, because this will make you complacent in this world. We need to develop a strong sense of urgency to find Sri Krishna. So the seventh instruction is that a person, even in his own mind, should not be beating the drum of his glories, thinking, I have done such amazing service. One who does like this, their service is not really service, it cannot be called seva, spiritual service. We see the Vaishnavas, especially here in Radhakunj, Srimad Premananda Prabhu lived such a sincere in simple life of service, serving all the Vaishnavas, serving all the devotees, hundreds and hundreds of guests every day, take prasadam. And he cooks everything and pays for everything, maintains everything. But he doesn't want even a particle of prestige. He does so many services without putting his name anywhere. He builds so many temples, established Gurudev's Samadhi, publishes so many books. He will never allow any mention of himself, though. He shows the ideal example of humility. He is always absorbed in the mood and the fact that everything is going on by the mercy of Sri Guru, and all glories are for Sri Guru. He always keeps Srila Gurudev front and center. The danger of the renunciant trying to beat the drum of self-glory is that one starts taking credit. If one starts taking credit for the successes of a spiritual institution and beats the drum of self-glory, then this will cause fall down. Without the mercy of Sri Guru, one can never achieve any spiritual success, whether in this realm or in the transcendental realm. Therefore, we should always remember the glory of Sri Guru and be free of pride. Das Goswami therefore says in his Manashiksha, Pratishta Sadrishta, if we want to be free of the desire for name, fame and prestige, we must constantly serve Sri Guru with a pure heart. Sadatam sevasva prabudhaita samantam atulam. Thus doing, they will certainly dispel this sense of pride from our heart. The eighth instruction is that we should not develop laziness on the pretense of performing solitary bhajan. The ninth instruction is that it is better or more beneficial to cultivate fields and water plants for the service of Vaishnavas than to chant hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rounds, like just, what are we doing? Just pulling rope, pulling beads inattentively. If we do service, the result will be that we can awaken sincere, true taste for the holy name. This is called ruchi. And this is the result of Vaishnava seva. But if we're only doing nam without seva, it becomes nam aparad, offenses only. It never will develop into pure shuddha nam, or loving service while chanting the holy names. Therefore we see that these true instructions, they go along with this pastime in the book of Jagannatha's Babaji Maharaja's life, where some people came to him and they wanted to live like renunciants without doing any work and just inattentively chant day and night and show themselves to be big sadhus and just be very lazy. But Babaji Maharaj sent them out and he said, plant eggplant, plant vegetables, tend the gardens, pick flowers and do various services. Mahaprabhu said, you should do both Harinam, Sankirtan and Vaishnava Seva. Nirantar koro Naam Sankirtan, aur koro Vaishnav Seva, and dui kore Shigra Pabe Shri Krishna Charan. If one continuously absorbed in service and also chants Harinam, then one will certainly quickly achieve the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Aside from this, there's no means to achieve this pure service. Harinam is also seva because Guru gives us the Harinam mantras, and to chant Harinam is very important. It is like our first duty, but does not mean we should neglect service. Service and Harinam should go hand in hand. When we are rowing a boat, we need 2 oars. Otherwise, if we are just rowing on one side, we'll go in circles. Therefore, we should always be engaged in both service and Harinam. In this way, we can make tangible progress in spiritual life. Number 10. Don't imitate the Vaishnavas or you will be burnt to ash. Instead, you should just pray to serve them without any duplicity. In the Bhagavatam, it is said, unless you are like Shiva, don't try to drink the Kalakut Bish, the poison that came up from the ocean of milk when they were churning it, the demigods and demons. So we shouldn't try to imitate great Vaishnavas. This is an offense.